Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla and today I'm doing a subscriber financial review. For these videos, I usually always start with three quick housekeeping items, as I like to say. And one of those is always an offer to submit your own financial situation so I can make one of these videos for you. As of right now, I don't know if I'm going to continue making these videos though. I do have a lot in my inbox currently. There's probably another 8 to 10 for me to go through at least. And so I will go through all of those. But after that, I'm not too sure that I'm going to continue doing these for a number of reasons that I'm just not going to get into in this video. But with that being said, if you end up emailing me with your financial situation, then I probably will not make a video for you. All of the ones in my inbox that I currently have, I will finish out and make a video for. But at this time, I'm not going to take any further submissions. However, I do have quite a few of these videos. I've been making one almost every single week since I think July of this year, and many times there's a lot of similarities between the emails that I'm receiving. So if you're in a situation, you probably can find it within these videos and be like, oh, that's probably what I should do next. But even better would be to work with me one-on-one. So my coaching is still available. I do have a couple of different packages. And because I'm no longer taking these emails, I'm actually going to create a new offering where if you want just like a second set of eyes, basically if you just want to work with me for one session, you don't want it to be long term or you don't feel like you need 2 sessions, you just want to kind of share your current financial situation with me, get some feedback on what you're currently doing, where you should move next, I now am going to be offering that. I always have my link down in the description box so you can see those offerings at my website. And then if you're someone who is really new to budgeting, to saving, to paying down debt, I also have a course. This will help you so much. If you work through it, actually apply the things that I'm teaching in that course and take action on everything, you can see yourself in a completely different financial situation like a year from now, maybe even within a few months, because there's a lot of good content in there and I will take you through everything step by step. Obviously that is self-paced, but it will help you tremendously if you are more of a beginner to finances. All right, so we are going to get to this email. Let me add that if you are going to leave a comment on this video to provide any sort of feedback or advice for this individual that this video is about, so just please remember to be friendly. All right, so here we go. For a little bit of background, I'm 30 years old and I didn't grow up in a family that talked about finances, and this unfortunately is still the case. Everything I know about financial literacy has come mostly from YouTube and books from the library. I feel like I'm finally starting to get a grasp on my finances and feel more in control than I have in the past. I currently have $62,000 in debt. Below is the breakdown. $34,000 of federal student loans. Interest rates differ between different loans, but they are between 1.5% and 7%. Minimum payment is $0 per month, and will likely continue to be $0 per month. $16,000 auto loan, 5.7% interest rate, and the minimum payment is $411 per month. $12,000 in credit card debt, 0% interest until November 2024, and the minimum payment is $113 per month. My student loan payments are currently paused because my application, submitted 3 months ago, has still not been processed. My estimated monthly payment, once they have been processed, is under $3 per month because last year my income was low. To be honest, I'm not worried about paying off my student loans right now, and my priorities are to pay off my credit card debt and my car, and to purchase a home by 2025. I started a new job in January 2023, and my income is currently $115,000 per year. My last salaried position was $48,000 per year. This huge jump in income has allowed me to put money into savings, put money toward retirement, and pay off other debts. I paid off another car for my brother to use, and in January I had about $25,000 in credit card debt. I get paid twice a month. Her gross earnings are $8,846 a month. Net monthly earnings $6,152. My budget is as follows, and she put a screenshot of her budget. This was for October though. And there's a couple of things, so I'll have that up on the screen, of course, but there's a couple of things she did mention here, some budgeting notes. I have several side hustles, and they usually bring in about $1,000 to $1,500 per month. This month, I'm going to a music festival with friends in Las Vegas. My monthly travel budget is not usually $2,000 per month. This month is definitely an anomaly. So with that being said, I will put this into my spreadsheets and I will take out the travel completely because, yeah, obviously she's not spending $2,000 per month on travel. To help cover this travel expense, I have a goal to bring in $3,000 this month from my side hustles, and I am on track to do so. If you haven't been able to tell by now, this email was sent to me in October. It was actually the very beginning of October. So yeah, this is almost like 2 months later. But that's why this is talking about October. But for this video, I'm going to talk about everything as everything is in the email and like as if I'm just responding directly to this email and not worry about the time that has passed too much. I do not have a category for pets because everything I purchase for my pets is with Amazon points through a credit card, and I haven't paid for dog food, treats, toys, supplies in about 3 years. That's impressive. But my concern there is you are like, what are you spending so much money on? Where is that coming in? The other thing that's interesting is she mentioned that she started her new job in January 2023, $115,000 per year. And then she said that she used to have $25,000 in credit card debt, and now she's at $12,000 in credit card debt. So she's paid down about $13,000 in 10 months. Which to me, based off of that income and all of her expenses that she listed here, that sounds low. Like $13,000 paid off in a year is really, really good, of course. But if we look at what she's earning from her full-time job as well as her extra income, then I think she should have been able to make more progress so far in 2023. So I would definitely want to get down to the bottom of that, because her saying that she is able to cover all of this dog food and stuff with Amazon points, she may be spending in other areas that are not listed here. And actually, speaking of, the next thing she says is, I also do not have a miscellaneous spending category, and I probably should. I don't have one because I very rarely buy anything but groceries, gas, and food from local restaurants or farmers markets. We really don't love capitalism and try really hard to purchase as little as possible. When we do spend money, it's usually on concerts and travel. Okay, so maybe it's been on a lot of concerts and travel, which that could make sense. Okay, so I don't know. There could still be some spending issues there. It sounds like there might not be if you don't want to spend on other things outside of what she just listed, but yeah, I don't know. I would like to see the full picture, basically. My total savings is currently $3,500, and it will be $5,500 at the end of October, $10,000 at the end of November, and $15,000 at the end of December. My situation: I rent a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Atlanta with my partner and our dogs. We love the area we live in, but are paying far too much in rent, $2,500 total. I pay $1,500 per month and my partner pays $1,000 per month. This house would have rented for about $1,400 per month in 2019, and it's frustrating to live in a country that actively isn't trying to create and maintain affordable housing for its people through policy and law, and that is allowing large corporations and property management companies to purchase single-family homes all cash, so citizens can rarely be competitive in the market when trying to purchase a home. Yeah, that's like a whole different conversation. It's really unfortunate, the current housing market as a whole, as well as just renting. Rent prices are definitely way too high, and if you want to get out of that cycle of renting, that's now really, really difficult just because of the cost of houses, the availability of houses, the interest rate, and then I would say just inflation in general. Like I don't feel like many people's incomes are in proportion with inflation and the cost of living in general. So yeah, I know that's a whole different conversation, but there's really not much we can do about it as of right now, you know? We have no kids and my partner is in school, so we pay rent and bills proportionate to our income. I make 50% more, so I pay 50% more. I would eventually like to get my master's degree when my partner has finished school. Estimated time would be May of 2024. And I would absolutely love to purchase a home before I go back to school so we can both lower our expenses and start investing in our future / gaining equity on a home. Okay, 2 things here these are both going to sound really, really negative. I understand that some people go back to school and get a master's degree so that they can advance in their career, and it would be well worth it. Or you may have an opportunity where you don't even have to pay for your master's program, so you wouldn't go into further debt. If you have that situation where everything's going to be paid for, then I think that's okay. But otherwise, I would ask, why are you getting your master's degree, or why are you interested in getting your master's degree? Considering your income is pretty high, 115K is good in my opinion. That's very good. And she lives in Atlanta. I also live in Georgia. So 115,000 in Georgia is pretty solid, especially when you have a partner. You already have $34,000 of student loan debt, and if you went back to school and things weren't paid for your master's program, you're going to have to go into further student loan debt, I would assume. And I just don't think it's worth it. Personally, I don't think it's worth it. Coming from somebody who has their master's degree. Now, I did get my master's degree because of an opportunity, and it was paid for. My tuition was paid for. But I did go into further debt because I took out student loans in order to live, because even working multiple jobs while being a full-time student, it just wasn't enough to pay for living. But I don't think it was worth it. Honestly, I don't regret it. But if I had the chance to go back, like, would I have gotten a master's degree? No, probably not. So obviously that's definitely personal opinion, and there could be a number of reasons why she wants a master's degree, but I would definitely encourage her to think about it first. Is it something you really, really want, and why? Would it help you to increase your income significantly to where the student loan debt and the time and energy would be worth it? Or would you be like, it sounds like you're pretty good with where you're at. The other thing within this paragraph that she mentioned that I'm sorry to put a negative take on, she mentioned that I would absolutely love to purchase a home before I go back to school so we can both lower our expenses. Oh yeah, that's it. Both lower our expenses. That's the key phrase right there. I'm sorry to say that purchasing a home will probably not lower your expenses. I know that you would have like potential equity in the home, and it is somewhat of an investment, but I'm going to use myself and my boyfriend's situation for an example to lean on, especially because we live in Georgia. I currently live in Georgia, so I can give you like exact experience with this. So I used to live much closer to Atlanta. I was like 10-15 minutes out from the city. I absolutely loved that area, but the closer you are to the city, the more expensive it is. This house that I am now living in, this is only in my boyfriend's name. He purchased this house, and we are like 30 minutes south of Atlanta, maybe 40 minutes south of Atlanta. And it is just like, I feel like we're pretty far out, you know? I'm not going to say exactly where we live, but I will say that overall the city that we're in isn't that bad. Like, there's everything that we need. There's all the grocery stores, there's like all the major retailers that you would see anywhere throughout like the suburbs of Metro Atlanta, but it is nothing like living closer to the city. Like, I would not want to be here long term is basically what I'm saying. And the reason that he ended up purchasing down here, the reason he even started looking down here, was because of the cost of housing. The cities that he wanted to live in, they were just too expensive. And the thing is that our house, which is like, how many square feet? It's less than 2,000, maybe 1,500 square feet. It's pretty small, 3-bedroom, 3 bathrooms. It's a good size for us. Like, it's fine. It's just the two of us. But I'm just saying this as like relative to what prices used to be. He bought the house for about $275,000. He put more down. He put not 20%, but more than the 3% that she mentions in her email. And then his interest rate is about 6%. And right now the interest rate on houses are like 8%, you know? And with all of that being said, the monthly mortgage is about $2,200. So it saves me money because I'm paying 40% of that, and then he's paying 60%. And what I'm paying now is definitely less than what I was paying at the apartment. But since y'all have, she said their apartment is about $2,500 per month. And if you get a house that's, even if it's less than $300,000, you're still going to be paying that amount per month for your mortgage, unless you put like a much larger down payment down, which in her email she says they probably wouldn't do that. And yeah, like I said, we came down here, like we're further south, and I would definitely prefer to live a little bit closer in to Atlanta. In the city that I really want to live in, the houses are from like literally from the 1920s, 1930s, and they're over $500,000. So yeah. The other thing with owning a home is you are responsible for managing it and repairing anything. When, like, I know that you probably know this and everybody knows this, but it's just a reminder that you may not be saving money by buying a house. It could actually cost you a lot more, especially if something goes wrong in the house and then you have to repair it. So I hate to be a Debbie Downer on that one, but yeah, it is just the reality of homeownership right now and buying a house. I really just don't think it would save you money. So I don't want you to get that in your head of like, oh, I need to buy a house by 2025 because then we'll save money. Like, yes, you'll have that somewhat of an asset, but it's not going to be like a huge savings for you on a monthly basis. It could actually end up costing you more. All right, quick side note, since she mentioned paying for rent, and obviously she's paying quite a bit for rent, I do want to mention the Bilt credit card. I haven't talked about this card before, but honestly, I am so upset that I did not have this credit card while I was renting. I was living in an apartment for over 4 years and I did not have this credit card. So I really wish I could go back in time and do so. But for those of y'all who are paying for rent through like a regular apartment, like having to make payments through a website, then this could potentially be a really good fit for you because you can get cash back for paying rent. So the way it works is you get this credit card, the Bilt credit card, and then they give you a like checking account number. So then when you go to the website to pay rent, it looks like it's a checking account. So you're not going to have to pay the fee. There's no fee on your actual rent payment website. Because typically if you try to pay with a credit card, you're going to have to pay like 3 to 5%, and it's not worth the cash back that you would get for it. Like, you would pay more in fees. But with this, because they give you this special checking account number, you will only benefit. So you can get 1% per dollar of your rent, up to 100,000 points per year. Now, something that's really important, in order for you to get that cash back, the 1% cash back, you have to make 5 transactions within the statement period. Like, you have to make 5 transactions each statement period to get your cash back. There's also no annual fee with this card. So that's amazing. There's also something called rent day. So on the first day of every month, sometimes it's a little bit longer than that. They have these like special promotions going on so you can get extra points for certain things. The card in general comes with a reward system so you can get extra cash back on like travel and dining. I'll have all the specifics in my description box. But seriously, I wish I had this credit card when I was paying rent because I would have made, I don't know how much money, but it would have been several hundred throughout the 4 years, potentially over 1,000. And I missed that opportunity. So if you're interested, I will have my link in the description box, and then I'll also have some more information there, but definitely something to consider if you are paying rent right now. I have a high yield savings account with Ally with a $3,000 balance. I have a Chase checking and a Chase savings account that I will likely close and switch over to using my Delta Community Credit Union account primarily. I also own a car outright, which she gave to her little brother. And I have about $12,000 in my Vanguard Roth IRA portfolio. And then she listed a few specific questions. Number 1, I've been working on my credit score all year in hopes of applying for a mortgage this winter or in the spring/summer. I have $3,000 in savings and I am tempted to use it toward my credit card debt this month. My credit utilization is currently at 33% and I really need it to get under 30% before I start applying for a mortgage. Should I leave the $3,000 in savings or should I just go ahead and put it toward my debt? We're going to look at my spreadsheets in just a moment and see a breakdown of everything because I don't think you need to use your savings. I think you can cash flow $3,000. Like, you can quickly pay down your credit card, and I will show you with my spreadsheets. But we really need to get down to where your money is actually going. Because like I said, I think she should have made more progress on her credit card based off of her income. And maybe I'm not seeing, like, I must be missing something. I don't know. But there is more room in your budget to be putting to debt. So I know that in October she mentioned she put $2,000 to travel, so that makes sense, but otherwise I don't know where your money is going because you should be able to pay this down within a few months. We'll go over that in my spreadsheet though. So to answer your question, no, I don't think you should pull from your savings. I think you should leave that there. I don't think you need to get your emergency fund up to $15,000 by any means. I would say it's good at like $6,000 or so for now until you're completely credit card debt free, at least. Maybe even until all of your debt is paid off aside from your student loans. I'm reading this at the end of November, and she said at the end of October, she'll have 5,500. So if that's where you're at, I would say, like, yeah, just keep it at about $6,000 if that's where you're at right now, and then put the rest to your credit card debt, and just keep your emergency fund at about 6K, and then you can bump it up to 10,000 either after you pay off the credit card debt or after you pay off the car. And then from there you can worry about increasing it, but don't use your savings for debt unless it's at the 6K or so. Number 2, it has been challenging to stay patient and feel peace knowing that I am working towards my goals. I feel a lot of anxiety and shame and feel like I should be in a better position financially than I currently am. Do you have any advice or tips on how to stay positive/patient and even enjoy the process? I definitely understand the struggle. I mean, I was working on paying down my debt for 5 years, and it gets really, really frustrating. I was impatient a lot of the time too. I think something that really helped me was just knowing that, like, the time is passing anyway. Like, it doesn't really make a difference. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, it always did. It was always just like, oh, the time is passing anyway, so just like keep going. I don't know if that makes sense to me for some reason. I guess with that phrase, it's kind of just like, do what you can, and like, you'll eventually get there. There's no point of looking at everything under a microscope. As far as staying positive and staying patient, well, staying positive first, I would say look at the progress that you've made. Definitely check in on all of your accomplishments on a regular basis. I suggest on a quarterly basis, because then it's much more than just looking at 1 month. You'll be really surprised in the difference of the start of a quarter compared to the end of a quarter, which is why I love making those videos, my quarterly updates. Those are really exciting to see, just because it's crazy how much can change in just 3 months. It's okay to feel impatient. Like, that's definitely normal. And honestly, I can't guarantee that it's ever even gonna go away. It kind of lingers with you until, I mean, there's still times that I feel impatient. I'm so sorry. This video, I feel like I'm calling out all of these negatives, but truthfully, I still feel impatient about my financial goals. Like, I just want to get to the next one. I don't know if it will ever go away. I think that's where the whole, like, the time is passing anyway comes in for me. Like, it doesn't make a difference if I want to rush things, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what, I'm going to get where I'm going to get, you know? I'm just trying my best. If I am putting X amount to savings, putting X amount to investment at the time when I was paying down debt, if you're making X payments, like, you will eventually get there. And I think just knowing that is encouraging. As far as enjoying the process, I have always, that kind of is something that naturally came to me. Like, having spreadsheets and filling those in, making my budget, that is enjoyable to me, as well as tracking my numbers. So if you're not already tracking on a monthly basis, you definitely should be doing that. Like, check in and see what your final balances are. And then that way you can see how much progress you've made on a month-to-month basis, as well as on a quarterly basis. I like seeing how much my net worth increases each month. I think it's, yeah, just filling in my net worth tracker, all of that stuff on a monthly basis is fun to me. So I definitely enjoy it. But overall, it sounds like you're kind of on the right track. Like, you are spending on things that are more meaningful to you, which is important on your debt-free journey. Like, if you really enjoy going to concerts and spending money on experiences as well as travel, that is much better than purchasing things. I agree with that as well. Because, yeah, otherwise that would have been my other suggestion, is just make sure you're spending money on things that actually add value to your life and what you want to spend them on. Unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for that. Like, it just, with time, finances do get easier. And hopefully that is encouraging in and of itself. Like, you'll eventually get to a point where it's like, oh, wow. Like, especially if you have that high of an income and then you get to a point where you have no debt, like, so much of your money is going to go to whatever you want it to. And that is like getting to that point will be so worth it. Like, just speaking from experience, now that I'm here, I no longer have debt. It has been so great not to have that, and hopefully that can kind of keep you inspired and positive on this journey. Number 3, for the rest of the year, I want to focus on building up savings for a down payment and to cover closing costs. Just 3% for a first-time home buyer in Georgia. Okay, so I think she's talking about the 3% just for the closing costs. I don't know what down payment she wants to do, but yeah, I don't know. For 2024, I want to buy a home, pay off my car and remaining credit card debt, and have 3 to 6 months of savings in my high yield savings account. Do you think there is a better order in which I should prioritize these goals? I know I tend to try to do too many things at once sometimes. I just feel like I'm so behind where I would like to be financially and want to make up for lost time. You are not behind overall. Like, you are going to be okay for sure, and you'll be able to catch up. I think the order of things is okay. Like, you should definitely prioritize paying down your credit card, paying down your car, and then, like, I know that you want the home, so you can put that in there. But I would say credit card is number one. It sounds like you kind of already have 3 months of, if you get to the end of November and you have $10,000, that's probably enough to cover 3 months of bare bones expenses, maybe even more than that. I would say overall, just to keep that, like, while you're paying down your debt, keep that to just 3 months of expenses. Like I said, if you get the $6,000, just stop there and then focus on your credit card debt. You can probably max out your Roth IRA in 2024. I will show you that with your spreadsheets. I think this is fine and definitely doable for 2024. Based off of your income, your side hustles, and your expenses that you shared with me, this is all perfectly reasonable. So let's go to my spreadsheets. All right, so we are looking at my snowball/avalanche tracker. This is available for my Etsy shop if you are interested. Starting month is November. Current month is November. I did list out her 2 debts. I did not include the student loans just because she said that she probably will be paying $0 per month on those. And also she's not too worried about them, which is fine. They're federal student loans. I think at some point, like, you definitely want to make more progress on them. I think for 2024, it's okay for you to not make any payments on them. But after that, once you're credit card debt free, car debt free, I think you should bump up what you put towards those. And then obviously keep in mind what I said about the master's degree, because if you don't go back to school, then you can prevent going into further debt depending on your situation. So yeah, I put her credit card here. She said it was $12,000, minimum payment $113, interest rate 0%. And then her car, about $16,000, $411 minimum payment, and 5.7 interest rate. She did send me this email early October, so I know that as of right now, these are not the correct numbers if we're in November 2023, but we're just gonna look at it as if I just received that email. If she does not make any extra payments for these 2 debts, she would pay them off by September 2032, $28,000 in about 9 years, which is definitely too long. So we want to speed that up, and she can definitely do so. So let's look at her budget. All right, as for her income, I put it at $8,152. And this is because she told me her take-home pay per month was $6,152. And then she receives $1,000 for paying rent from her partner. And then $1,000 I put for her side hustles. And I think that's on the low end. She said she makes about $1,000 to $1,500 per month. But then she had mentioned in October that she was going to be making about $3,000 from her side hustles to cover travel expenses, which is incredible. Like, if you're able to bump that up a little bit more, then that's even better. You'll have even more money to work with. But I'm going to be conservative here and say that you're only going to be earning $1,000 from extra income. So clearly quite a bit of money to work with, over $8,000. And then here's all of her expenses. Some of these on here, I don't know what they're for. I put GGG. I think this was like good. I mean, these are fine. $3, $5. This is her gym. Everything looks pretty good. You have quite a few subscriptions, so you could cut them out. But honestly, I wouldn't even say that you really need to, because you make enough income to cover these and to still pay off a lot of debt. Like, they're not killing you in your budget, you know, but you do have quite a few, so maybe you could eliminate some. I am questioning if food is actually accurate. Like, I would think it's a little bit higher, but maybe that's what she actually does. And then, like I said, I did pop on miscellaneous for $1,000 just to include anything else that she could possibly be spending on, including travel, gifts, I don't know, whatever else she may be purchasing. I think that should cover quite a bit on a monthly basis. Here we have the total, of course. And then as far as the difference, she's left with over $3,500, which is pretty incredible. Like I said, this does not include her credit card minimum payment, but I'm doing that for a reason, because I'm about to show y'all everything on like an annual basis instead of just in 1 month. So with just this, if we're just looking at this, even if we added in her credit card, she should still be able to put at least $3,000 to her debt per month. And that is where I was like questioning, like, how have you not paid down more of your credit card? And I would be interested in seeing where your money has actually gone throughout the year, because I think you can make really quick progress. And that's okay. At this point, if you haven't paid more down, that's okay. You can go forward and really tackle this debt. So I'm going to add on 3,000. Yeah, we don't even need that much. This is all going to happen really, really quickly. So on this spreadsheet, I'm just popping $3,000 into extra payments every single month from November through July. And if she were to do that, she would be credit card and car debt free by July of 2024. And that would solve your problem pretty quickly for your credit score. Your utilization rate would go down to 0 by February 2024, potentially sooner, because if you have over 6,000 in savings, I think you could pull from that and put it to your credit card. And then maybe this instead would be paid off by January 2024. And then at that point, you can apply for a mortgage loan, and your credit score should be higher because of your credit utilization rate. So that would be perfect. And then for your car, obviously you would move to paying that one off after you pay off the credit card. And that would be by July 2024, which frees up $411. And that's amazing. Now you have 2 paid off cars. Now with her budget, instead of cutting things out or changing anything or seeing what's possible with her debt, that's not really necessary. So we see that you can pay off your debt within 9 months or so, probably less. So I just multiplied everything by 12, basically, including her income. Now this is her net income. I don't know if she's investing. I didn't mention this because she didn't mention it, but if you have a 401k being offered with a match, definitely take advantage of that. But she didn't bring that up. So do that even while you have the debt. If there is a match offered, take advantage of that. This does include the $1,000 from her partner for rent and also the $1,000 from her side hustle income. $1,000 is conservative. She would probably be paying taxes on this on the side, but I think this is a pretty good number to work off of for everything for the whole year. So this will be for 2024. Now, like I said, I multiplied all of these numbers by 12. Altogether, she would be spending like $56,000. And then this even includes $12,000 of miscellaneous spending. So that could be for travel and anything else. And that would leave her with about $42,000 left over in the year to apply to her other goals. So I did want to see what that would look like. So I just pulled that $42,000 number up here and then started subtracting things. So she mentioned she wanted to max out her Roth IRA. So I did this number minus $7,000, and that's how I got this $35,000. So she would be able to max out her Roth IRA. You can do that slowly. Just put a little bit to it each month until you max it out. In 2024, you would be putting about $6,000 or so to the rest of your credit card debt, because you could probably do $6,000 for the rest of 2023 at least, and then another $6,000 in 2024 to pay it off by February, like I said. So that's where this number comes in. I did this $35,000 minus $6,000, and that came to $29,072, and you would be credit card debt free. And then after that, she would focus on her car. So she would have about 15, was it 15? So by February, her car, let's say 14, because that's probably closer to what it will be. So to pay off her car, take another $14,000. So after doing all of that, you would then have about $15,000 to work with, give or take, to put toward your house down payment and or your savings in general, like your emergency fund. It's not going to be a crazy huge amount for you for a down payment, but I think that's pretty good for you to pay off a huge chunk of your debt, max out your Roth IRA, put a solid amount to savings potentially, and then have a huge chunk for your down payment. Like, that's a lot to accomplish within the year, and I think that would be a pretty good start. Overall, I don't know what they're aiming for their down payment, but this would definitely be a good start. And then you could go into 2025 and maybe your partner is also saving some money so you guys can combine it, and then you'll have more to work with. So to answer her final question that she had, I think all of the goals that you have set for yourself are perfectly reasonable and definitely achievable for you in 2024. And then after 2024, I do suggest putting more to your student loan debt, make a larger monthly payment, even if it is just $0, just because that if you have a 7% interest rate, that's still pretty high. And so you can work on paying that down slowly and still build up your savings and down payment savings. Something else I wanted to add is that it is also okay if you don't end up buying a house, if you don't buy it in 2024, 2025, or even by 2027, it is okay. I know it may feel wasteful to pay for rent every single month, but I don't think it's a waste because that's a roof over your head, and obviously that's important. Things are much different now than they were compared to, our parents' time. Society puts pressure on us, especially at our age, like we should have a house by this point, and this should be done, and this should be done, but things just aren't the same. And I've kind of accepted that reality and have let go of those things because there's just no point in dwelling on it because it doesn't really serve me and my goals and my thoughts, I think you're on a pretty good track. Hopefully overall this video was helpful and it will help you to make the next steps in your financial journey. If any of y'all have any other suggestions for this individual or feedback, please feel free to comment that down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.